And we are back. Here we are again for another fabulous conversation about theater. You know how much I love me some theater, and we are utilizing the beauty and the magic of the digital era to start bringing theater to lots and lots of people around the country. So, again, for those of you who are big fans of the Keith Price Curtain Call, this is another episode that we're bringing through, and it's going to be fantastic. Again, I love to say it is nice to see in this day and age that we are now living this free life as, out artists. That's our big thing now. We can be out, we can be fabulous, we can be seen, we can wear rainbows and people can get over it now. But there was a time in entertainment where that just was not the case. And you guys may have remembered my last conversation with Perry Ojeda when we were talking about him on Broadway and how he was getting the opportunity to be on stage with two very large gay icons like Jesse Tyler Ferguson and Leah Delaria, and how at the time in the 90s that was a huge, huge deal. And my guest today, guys, is someone who in his own way had to live through that kind of experience of being not only an out performer, but also playing an out character on a very high profile show at a time when it was not de rigueur, if you would like to say, to see, not only the character being gay, but also the actor being gay. And so today, not only is Bill Brochtrup, see, got it. Did I do it? Bill Brochtrup is here with me today to talk about all of that. But you know what? He's also a theater baby, which is what, you do a little research and you start Googling people, you get to find out all kinds of good stuff about him. So he was you were just off Broadway and in New York and just turning the theater scene out while you were here. Is that correct, Mr. Brochtrup? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome.
Yeah, I grew up in Tacoma, Washington, and I was like got to New York as fast as I could. So I was at NYU, and I was not to say something bad about Tacoma, but I was eager to get to New York. That's all I could say.
Wow.
I was at NYU, and I love New York, but I've been in Los Angeles now for many, many years. So I
Yep.
came out here when I was still quite young, and like a lot of people who come here trying to make it in film and television and get and earn that money, and enjoy that ride. But while I was here, I was always doing theater in Los Angeles, and so it's always been kind of a thing for me to promote Los Angeles theater, because I know that a lot of people think that that's some doesn't that Los Angeles and theater just don't go together. Like, what is that about? And I know that there's so much great theater here, and has been for many years. So I've been a big promoter of LA theater, even while going back to New York on the occasion to do things. And I would love to go back to New York more, just because it's so much fun to live there. I enjoy it so much. Well, maybe not this very moment, but or in recent
Well,
times, I understand.
well, in this moment, I got to say, New York has been a challenge to live in. But it's funny because when I hear you say, when you're talking about being a big proponent of New York or Los Angeles theater, I can already hear the sass and the teeth sucking of every person that is a Broadway fan that's listening to the podcasts. They're like, "Oh,
I
really?
know.
I can't
Yes,
believe
I know.
they talking about theater. Don't nobody talk about no theater from Los Angeles." but
It's true. It's true, and it's
there's a
sad.
thriving community of theater.
Absolutely. And it often is in the shadows of the studios. We feel like sort of like what do they say, stepchild or whatever of the industry, but which is wrong, because stepchildren are awesome. But we often feel a little overlooked, I
Hey,
think, in Los Angeles
most
theater.
stepchildren are awesome.
Yeah, totally.
Most.
Totally. Oh, well, there might be some, I don't know. Um, so I've been involved in the intimate theater scene in Los Angeles, which is made up of many, many small under 99 seat theaters. And I have come to love that theater more than I do some of your big Broadway shows, because it's so up close and personal. I like to sit in the front row, and I like to see people sweat,
Ooh.
literally. And so you get that, and you get to see, because Los Angeles has so many wonderful actors here, the pool of acting talent is vast. And so we're able to utilize lots of great actors who are here, who care about the theater.
Well, I was just thinking too that you say that it's in the shadow of the television and film industry, but when you think about it, that also is an opportunity for that place to develop actors and actresses as if they were on Broadway, or training to be actors and do stage work in New York, by giving them the opportunity to get stage work in Los Angeles, to keep those skills fresh, to give you the nuances
I
and things
think
you need for television and film, which is what is happening here, basically. Everybody
I
does
mean,
theater to try to get to TV eventually, so why shouldn't
yeah.
theater just be that much closer to TV?
My feeling is that great storytelling is wherever great storytelling is. I love television. I've had a great experience in television throughout my career. I've enjoyed what television can do, which is amazing, is it can tell the story over a long period of time. So,
Right.
for example, NYPD Blue that I worked on, was on for 12 years. So, and I was on it for 10. So the stories that we told
Yay.
take place in yeah, it's awesome. Take place in real time. I mean, so that the
Right.
coming together of my character, who was a very openly gay, upbeat, positive person, and a sunny person in a very grim, dark, gritty world,
Right.
winning over Detective Sipowicz, played by Dennis Franz, who
Right.
was kind of a bigoted, homophobic cop. We became friendly, but it took literally 10 years for that to happen. From when he
Which
sort
is
of,
true.
despised me at the beginning till eventually I started babysitting his son on the show. And then in the last season, I officiated his wedding.
Right.
So that took place in real time over 10 years. And the audience grew along with us in that. That's not something the theater can do. That's something television can do. The
Very
theater does
true.
something very different. And I've enjoyed my experience in both. And I feel like the the great storytelling is where the great storytelling is and where it takes us. So now I am artistic director of the ANTAEUS Theater Company in Los Angeles, and we're a classical theater company. We do timely and timeless works, but we've tried now to find a way to reach people during this pandemic that is another way of telling great stories, which is
Right.
through uh, audio plays and podcasts.
It's so fun. I just was talking to you before we started really recording for this interview, and it was I just was listening. I have a partner who is visually impaired, and it was fun to listen to the pieces, because it's like a radio play, but it was even better because he and I are now on a level playing ground, and that we're going to have to use we're going to have to use our imaginations more excuse me, in order to enjoy the work. And that was actually really fun, and it
Yeah.
was an engagement in a way that we don't normally get to do, because
Well,
I like I said, I love a flashy musical, so it's like,
right.
give me my costume changes, give me my overture, give me my big numbers. But it was fun because it was being able to engage in a different way with theater again, which is
Well,
fantastic.
we were looking. We have a small intimate theater, 80 seats, as you do. You're very close to
Right.
everybody, and you get a great view, and you really see the actors, sweating, as I say. But as we were looking during this, the pandemic shutdown of everything, all the theaters, of course, shut down. A lot of people were doing Zoom theater and trying to figure out ways to hybrid film stage plays, these kind of things. All fantastic. But I love podcasts. I mean, I just
Yeah.
personally love podcasts. I listen to them all the time. And we thought that I felt that the intimacy of our stage, which is very small, is analogous to the intimacy of someone telling a story right into your ear and sort of whispering the story in your ear. And also because we concentrate on a lot of classical pieces, it's hard to find things that speak to Los Angeles in particularly, or
Right.
our community in particular.
Right.
And so we have a playwrights lab, and we commission playwrights to uh, choose a zip code in Los Angeles and write a 30-minute play about that zip code. And that's all we sort of told them. So the genres are very open. We have some that are funny, some that are
Hmm.
historical, some that have magical realism. We got a ghost story. They're all different, and but relate to specific communities in the greater Los Angeles County. And that was a way to sort of speak to our community. And
Hmm.
at the same time, because theater has such problems, and I mean, my goodness, Broadway for sure has such problems with access, um, we wanted to find a way to make these, so we release them as a podcast.
Right.
You're free to download on our website and on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. This way, that takes away the barriers of people who can't afford to come to the theater, which is a huge problem. Certainly on Broadway, a problem. People who are geographically distant from us, people who have transportation issues, people who have schedule issues, people who work at night and can't come to the theater, people who have childcare issues, people who are, as we know, many people just don't feel that they're invited to be in the theater. They don't feel I'm not, that's not part of my world, and I don't feel welcome or comfortable there. This way, people can come and listen whenever they want at their own time, and we tell a story right to them in their headphones.
And the best part too is, again, it also feeds into the kind of a short attention span that we kind of have as a nation over coming to. So you're getting these really wonderful stories in 30-minute bites, basically.
I kind of like that.
Which is cool.
I listen to podcasts. I go on my walk, or I do the dishes, or I clean my garage, and it's the perfect length. So that's why we did that.
I like that. Bill Brochtrup with me here on Keith Price's Curtain Call, and it's so much fun talking to you because, again, when you were talking about your days on NYPD Blue and how I remember the period, because we're talking like the late 80s, early 90s, starting off into that process, and where we were as a country with the gay identity, shall we say, and how what it's turned into today. Because I'm sure that when you were on set, trying to live your best out life, did you ever dream that you would see, gay marriage, or, would you dream to see something like RuPaul's Drag Race, where you have straight men on a construction site arguing about whether or not they like Raja O'Hara? You know what I'm saying? Like, did we ever think that would be the world that we would be living in now? Did you?
I feel like I had a little taste of it. I was always very, as I said, I'm very optimistic about the future of the world. So, when I first started on the show, it was 95. I started 95. And there were not many out gay actors that you could name at that time. There are a few, and I'm so grateful and proud of them, and the guys who came before me, who made it a little easier. But it was a time of outing, and people were very, which is, you don't see as much now, this sort of outing people. It was a scary time in some ways for that. But I have a friend, playwright Jonathan Tollins, who wrote Byron Seller. You probably know him.
Yes.
Awesome writer. And I just remember he said to me back then, do you want to be, before I had come out on the show, he said, do you want to be at the tail end of one era or the beginning of a new era? And that choice made it very clear and very easy what was the right thing to do. So I came out in the press. Everyone when people ask about coming out, it's a funny thing because everyone has to. I think a lot of straight people or something think that coming out just means you like make one declaration once, and really coming out is
you're doing it every day.
It's a lifetime experience. You have to come out to yourself first, which in some cases is not so easy. I mean, I was pretty mixed up when I was younger. You have to come out to your family, to your friends, and some people have to come out to the press. And that was something that there was not a lot of examples that I saw of.
Nope.
But once I did, I've never regretted it. I've been so much happier, and I encourage everybody to do it. It's it was very helpful. And who knows what happens with your career? You know what I mean? I may have lost some roles because of it. On the other hand, I gained a lot of roles from it. And people say like, "Oh, are you afraid you'll only play gay parts?" And I'm like, I love playing gay parts. There's an authenticity, and I feel my acting is better when I'm playing gay parts. When I worked on Major Crimes, another cop show, I played a gay police psychologist, and I love that opportunity as well, to just be like a gay person in the workforce. Where him being gay was not a particular issue; it just was a fact, and it wasn't hidden, but it wasn't. Neither was it exploited. It just existed because well, because of good writing and a executive producer, James Duff, who likes to tell stories authentically. Um, so I've been happy with that.
That's you with the choice roles. So with you and ANTAEUS, um, what's what's some of the things that we can look forward to with the theater company? Because right now, for folks who are listening, the opportunity to hear the zip code pieces, zip code plays. You have 2 seasons of actually of zip code plays, right?
Yeah, we did. We did a first season during the lockdown. We commissioned 6 writers. We figured out how to deliver recording equipment and kits to all of our actors remotely, so everyone recorded in their own homes safely. And then we have a brilliant sound designer, an audio producer, Jeff Gardner, who somehow magically puts it all together, along with Foley, which is the kind of
Right.
the sound of horse hooves and
Hmm.
silverware clanking around, which he's brilliant at, and put them all together. We have a host, Ramon Giocampo, and original music from Ella Mandel. We put it all together, and it sounds like everybody was in the same room at the same time,
It
which they were not.
does. It does. It's so funny because it's sort of like that's the other thing about how theater is having to come together in a weird way that is like I would have never expected. Isn't this
Isn't
amazing
it
though?
funny? And there's like fist fight and there's kissing, and somehow it sounds like everybody was in the right
In the
place at the
same
right time.
room. I
So
love that.
it went so well, and we were absolutely shocked by how well the first season did, and we were able to reach people from not just all across the country, but all across the world. We've had listens from, and for a
Exactly.
small theater, that kind of outreach is amazing. So we decided to do a second season, which we just released. So those are also available. So there's 12 altogether now, and we are going to be doing a third season, which will release in the late fall. There's a long lead time because we've got to commission the writers. They have to write the plays, and then we have to
Nice.
record them, and then the process of post-production on them takes a fair amount of time.
So now that the COVID restrictions have kind of changed in a different way, will you be able to start at least recording in the same rooms together with
We'll
those
see.
plays, or do you
Probably
want
we'll
to?
we will record these. The season 3 will record probably at the end of the summer. So I think it's likely we will continue to do them remotely, just so everyone is super comfortable and the actors
Mhm.
feel very comfortable. We have, we've gone through all the trouble of learning how to do this properly and make it sound great. So I don't see a reason that we need
Now they want to
to
mess it up
change
with
that
this
yet.
whole
Yeah, and
going back to that way.
we hope to be back in the theater in person probably this fall with some readings and things like that. But we are cautious about moving too quickly into. We're all eager to get back to the theater. We miss that community,
Right.
but I also want to do it safely and where the audience and the actors and everybody involved feels extremely comfortable. So um, we are not. We're not on a super rush to get back in. I want to do it properly.
Yeah. I mean, it's a challenge. This is going to be, I think in the end, it's going to be fun to see how we can, because once things start getting back to normal, it's going to be interesting to see how maintaining, maintaining this particular style, because this is a great new, I guess, frontier for theater admirers, for theater makers. This is a whole other new kind of a twist on the genre, if you will, by being able to record these things at home and stuff like that. Like when it when things get back to a more normal way, is that's going to be something that you're going to want to keep doing?
I think so. I think that we've really enjoyed the audio format, and I think it's something that we will likely continue as part of our regular programming. Now, I will say that at some point when it's going to be safe to be in the theater altogether, it would be a whole lot easier to record everybody in the same room. So I can see us moving to that, but I believe that we will keep going with some kind of original audio content because it answers so many questions about access for us.
Yeah.
And for the theater in general. I think that that's something we're not going to want to lose. And I love the idea that we have a lot more zip codes in Los Angeles to explore. And once we finish that, I think there are zip codes in California and then zip codes all across the nation. We have writers who I'm sure would like to write about New York and New Orleans and Chicago and Boise
Yeah.
and wherever they're from. And we want to hear those stories too. So I can see Zip Code USA as something in our future.
Well, I see someone needs to be copywriting that kind of idea.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Uh,
Because honestly, that is the most amazing, fun way to engage the country. Like, can you imagine what the Mississippi stories could be like if people really wanted to write some
I would
fierce,
love to hear it. We have great playwrights here
you
in Los
know?
Angeles, and we want to take advantage of them speaking about LA right now. But
Hmm.
in the future, I'm sure they want to talk about their hometowns and all kinds of places.
Well, okay, then you need to take Antaeus and get down to the copyright office, whatever that autistic thing, to get your snap on
Yeah.
that licensure, whatever that you got to do, so that you can get to have a stake in it at the very beginning, because it is a fantastic idea. You can do it like
Thank you.
who is it? She runs the theater, the La Mama Theater, and how
Mm.
when you start off with that chunk of working with them, then she's got a piece of that for in perpetuity. So
Oh, I'm always happy about royalties and residuals. Believe you me, huh?
hello, at 10 years on NYPD Blue, you
Yeah.
better love you some residuals.
Yes, I'm.
Hello.
They've been very helpful.
I'm sure it's not as big as it used to be.
Oh, they do get smaller as the time goes on. That is the sad truth. But
Wow.
but I've been very, very lucky.
Fantastic. Well, it is an absolute pleasure to take some time and just, hang out and chat with you, and also getting the chance to, get the word out about a little piece more of theater that's happening out in the world. So that makes me very
Yeah, and
happy.
please, people come and listen. They're available again at our website, antaeus.org, and as well as on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you look up zip code plays. That's what they are.
I love that.
And
So
they're free.
for more information, they can go to Antaeus, ANTAEUS.org. Is that correct? For
Yes, Antaeus is the name of a Greek titan. That's what we're named after, and the name
mm,
is a little confusing. But yes, antaeus.org is where you will find us.
see. I'll admit, I'm already thinking of somebody in some really fierce kind of like cutoff shorts, lawn cloth, and sandals.
Ah,
So thank you for that
yeah.
visual,
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Why
Bill.
not?
So nice to talk to you. So wonderful to meet you. And
Pleasure.
again, for anybody, Bill Brochtrup. See, look at that. I had it going. BillBrochtrup.com. BROCHTRUP.com for more information about my guests. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. This is
Thank
great.
you. Pleasure.
All right. And we will be back.